a doula, couples hire me to help them sort of navigate childbirth. The majority of them are having a natural childbirth, and so we work on a lot of different coping skills and things like that that they can do during childbirth in lieu of having pain medication.
As a patient advocate, my work at Choices is to be in the room when women go through medical procedures, primarily abortions, to hold their hand, tell bad jokes, really whatever they need. Sometimes they just want to ignore me and not talk through the process, and other times I'm chatting about tattoos or nail polish or the Grizz game or television for 10 minutes straight.
My role is to support women and their husbands or other support people, their partners, and I do that mostly during the childbirth process, but there's a lot that goes on before too, with some education, information, helping them think through the kind of birth that they would want.
I feel like I don't do a whole lot, really. I make jokes. I'm pretty laid back, and I'm constantly making jokes like, I'm just here to make sure the baby doesn't hit the floor. And essentially, really, I feel like oftentimes that is all that I'm there for. The woman is actually doing all of the work, and oftentimes they have support people there that are with them. But really, I'm just there to guide this baby and guide the mother and any of her support people through it all.
First of all, I try to find out what the mom wants and try to offer her as many options as possible. I meet with her in the prenatal time so that we can find out what she needs and what types of things we need to find out before we get to the time when it's time for birth.
One of the things that I love best about being a patient advocate is when I walk into that room, the woman on the table doesn't need another person trying to make her think about her decision or questioning her want to not have a baby. They just need someone to stand there and to smile. And for me, that means a lot. That I can be there for someone, even if it's just 5 minutes, in a way that maybe they're not getting holistically supportive elsewhere.
Seeing the mothers' faces when it's all over, in that single moment where it's done, and they are overwhelmed and joyful and feeling powerful and realizing that they have done this thing that is so huge, and it's just the biggest moment of their life.
It's amazing every time. It is. It's crazy. Just yesterday, it's crazy. This baby, this being is on the inside, and then all of a sudden it's on the outside, and it's amazing, and it's all perfect, and it works, and it's put together, and it's just like the way it's supposed to happen, and it happens like that more often, than not. So, for me, I enjoy, teaching women about like their bodies and, to kind of trust their bodies and giving them knowledge so that they can actually, kind of trust their bodies and make educated decisions, about their body.
I think that there's a lot of times in childbirth, there's not a lot of informed consent. A lot of times decisions are just made for a woman, and if they're not prepared, then they have no other option than to just go along with the things that the medical people around them want, whether or not it's in their best interest. And so my job is to sort of help guide them. Hopefully before we get to the birth, they are aware of all the things that might come up and are able to make those decisions for themselves and to sort of own the process and make it their birth and not have it be controlled by the people and the circumstances around them.
I'm really concerned about the laws in our state and in our country concerning women and women's rights. And I'm concerned about women. I feel like women have the authority and autonomy of their body, and I get concerned when I see doctors or other people want to take control of that, whether they're a wonderful, upright citizen or they happen to be an indigent or a teenage mom who has found herself pregnant. I really feel like that's a very important time in a woman's life, and that it should be treated with honor and respect, and that she should have the autonomy of her pregnancy and her birth, and that she should have the right to proceed how she likes.
And for my second birth, I wanted to do it at home, but my husband wasn't ready for that. And so we chose to do it in a hospital again. And I went over my due date, and my doctor said it's time to schedule an induction. And I said, well, I'll come in and let you see, how things are kind of shaping up there. And I went in, and there was nothing saying that this baby is ready to be born. There was nothing in my body that said, you're ready. And so I said, okay, well, I'm going to go home. So I went home, and my doctor called me the next day, and he said, I understand that you left the hospital. And I said, I did, because there was nothing ready. There was nothing saying there was time. And he said that he could call the police, and that he would do that if I didn't come back for an induction the next day. And it was really upsetting, and it was terrifying, and as far as I knew, he was telling me the truth. And I later found out that that wasn't true, but I sort of managed to avoid the induction because I think they scared it out of me, because I was on my way to the hospital when I started having my contractions, and so they let it go, and I did end up being able to have my baby, but it was kind of an atmosphere of fear, loathing.
If we're talking about reproductive justice, we have to talk about all parts of it. We have to talk about the medicalization of birth and the commercialization of that process, and how the culture that surrounds that is influencing women who choose to terminate pregnancies as well. And women anywhere in between, women who choose to adopt or choose to do surrogacy or choose to have in vitro or choose to just foster and never to have any of their own children.
And we seem to be shifting back into a generation of women who want to be in control, and they understand that their body is capable of doing what it's doing, what it needs to do. And as long as women don't understand that they have choices in birth, then they don't have any choices.